Yo, I'm Matt Forio, and this is Chisel This. I've seen a couple people review this cultural appropriation rap and give it some well-deserved punches, but I'm here to deliver a sound and fair analysis of the way this rap was created and what it means today. If you have not watched it yet, check the description for a link. This rap is a comedy skit made for a segment on Comedy Central's show Problematic with Moshe Kasher about how the music industry has stolen from certain cultures without giving credit or asking for permission. At first, I did not even realize that this was from Comedy Central, because I don't find it very comedic. They're not known for being rappers, sure, I'll give them that, so they hired a real rapper, MC Search from Third Base, to do the heavy lifting.
Holy cow, it's MC Search from Third Base!
Now, I've always said how I wanted to shift into critiquing the culture on this channel, and this is the perfect opportunity for me. You know me for being a rapper myself and critiquing rap, and this video has both, so let's critique both.
Appropriation happens when oppressed culture gets co-opted by a dominant other.
This video is just poorly produced. It's decent enough to pass for television, but if you actually look at the technical components, it just doesn't work very well.
Cultural appropriation.
They basically adapt an essay into a mediocre rhythm on an awfully bland instrumental, and they often cut the music for either emphasis or saying a line that doesn't fit on the beat.
Then came a guy who was more embezzling than anyone before him.
Elvis Presley?
This can be an effective tool, but they cut the beat off beat.
Icon of appropriating, he was the king.
That's actually short for taking.
The stopping is no longer rhythmic, it's just a jarring interruption. And let's not forget that he uses 6 syllables to say Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley?
I get the idea of stressing syllables, but there was no beat to fit it on, so you didn't have to do that here. The rappers seem uninterested, the ideas are cluttered and jump all over the place without sequiturs. It's just not entertaining. Overall, it falls short in organization, writing, videography, editing, but worst of all, in its message. The main idea is to make a statement that all the icons in music that we know and love are basically known and loved for stealing from oppressed cultures. Now, there is some legitimacy in this argument when considering ancient laws that forbade people of color from performing at certain venues. This injustice was overturned in due time, and soon all people of all colors and all cultures could make music and learn from one another. It's beautiful. The term cultural appropriation states that one group of people owns a particular culture or style exclusively, and the only legitimate way to participate is to either be born into it or fit some kind of stereotype. I thought we had a civil rights movement to stop these kinds of things.
You're saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why? Dude, girl, you have no right to tell me what I can have. Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Put your hands on me.
MC Search says in the rap, appropriation happens when oppressed culture gets co-opted by a dominant other, and it's supposed to rhyme. But the first problem is this flawed premise that culture is a finite pool of ideas. When a collection of things has a finite number, rearranging them in any fashion causes someone to lose and someone to gain. Imagine a pulley system where one pulling from one side causes the other side to rise. Or imagine a scale where weight on one side causes interference on the other. This is not true in wealth creation, and it is also not true in culture. And of course, I'm not talking about actual intellectual property theft. I'll let you call that cultural appropriation. I'm talking about influences. Some people do things better than others. That's just the price of freedom. But on the same token, freedom allows anyone to take their ideas as far as they want in 2017. This means that influences are not a commodity to be taken, but a way to spread ideas on an eternal platform, forever. Even philosophers influenced one another in ancient times. Our world runs on a process of innovation, learning from innovation and innovating more. You're not appropriating Apple by using a Mac computer. You're contributing to the lifespan and vibrancy of the Apple brand and encouraging more people to use Apple. It's called patronization, not cultural appropriation. We teach one another, we learn from one another, and we build from one another. It took a long time to get to a place where things like culture are not a zero-sum game. But these people try to reverse that by criminalizing participatory culture as cultural appropriation. Now, it's easy to think that this is crazy talk and make fun of it, and maybe that's something Comedy Central would have done in the past. But today, they are actually using cultural appropriation as a soapbox to create content that's more preachy and less funny. The clear irony of the video is that two white guys are rapping about how white people stole rap from black people. The first is self-referential.
So settle back for this quick recap by two white dudes in a rap. Okay.
It's an excuse for being guilty of what they are preaching against in the rap, so that their argument can either hold water or be passed off as pure comedy with no intellectual sanity required. The second is the real problem with this video, and it's what really inspired me to sit down and write something about it.
What about the appropriator's third
I
base?
still got my ghetto pass, don't make me give you the gas face. The history of rap with Justin and Jimmy.
Moshe questions MC Search on the premise of this video. What about the appropriators called third base? Didn't you, MC Search, participate in a culture that you claim is owned by people whose color you don't share? And he says,
Still got my ghetto pass, don't make me give you the gas face.
I still have my ghetto pass. Where can one apply for a ghetto pass? And is a ghetto pass simply a scapegoat to ignore the sheer stupidity of cultural segregation? It's like they are aware that cultural inclusion is a good thing. It is ultimately responsible for the success of people like MC Search. But that doesn't fit their narrative, so here's an explosion. Why does he get the ghetto pass? What's a ghetto pass? Why does someone need a pass to participate? Why does someone want to require a pass in order to participate? Shouldn't someone feel honored if they are inspiring people to participate in their own culture? My MO is to spread my culture of intellectual thinking and carefully crafted poetic rap as far as possible. I want people to culturally appropriate me. Please appropriate me. Spread my message far and wide. Learn from me and become better than me to survive my culture 100 years from now. You are invited, and there are no qualifications. That's why I have a Patreon page where people enroll in school to learn and grow in art. That's me creating a participatory culture. Here's the devil in this video. Looking at this video as an isolated incident, it has immediately turned differences in race to more than just a color. Treating differences in color like the parameters for an exclusive group is racism, and it's exactly what the civil rights movement was designed to deconstruct. Now, there is a difference in the many cultures of our world, of course. It's what makes us unique. And it is true that certain cultures contain ethnic majorities, but that is not to say that they are exclusive, nor that they should be. Some cultures have roots in geographical areas, and to its credit, many of its participants share an ethnicity. But, I can remember a man who had a dream that inclusivity was not predicated on ethnicity. To judge a person not on the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. According to cultural appropriation, your character doesn't matter so long as you're participating in a genre that you did not create. You follow our rules under cultural appropriation. By the way, the people who invented the tropes of these cultures are dead. From the first poet to the last slave, they're all dead. So by this measure, we are all appropriating whatever culture we were born into, and we should all be ashamed. I am sorry. Now I can find the rap that MC Search of Third Base is famous for. It's called Gas Face, and it criminalizes racism. That's a good thing. Send racism back to hell where it belongs. But yet here he is saying that it's racist to participate in a culture without a written document of approval, or a ghetto pass, signed by MC Search himself. You are not allowed to do what he doesn't want you to do, or it's racist. And maybe it wasn't his idea to make this video. Maybe it was something passed down through the reins of Comedy Central and delegated onto these two individuals to say, we need to make something that plays into this whole narrative in order to make our certain yearly mark. And you're going to be the one to do it, and you're going to follow our instructions, or you're not going to feed your family tonight. That's a total possibility, and I'm open to that. And look, it's okay to have pride in your cultural background, as I do. but you can't use that as an excuse to exclude. A culture should not be a club whose membership is determined by the way somebody looks. It should be defined by the common interest of individuals who enjoy the company of one another and share similar ideas, habits, and styles. It's a voluntary transaction. It's what happens when you press subscribe because you liked my video. We are creating a culture of analysis and intellectual thinking and how to implement that into rap and music, and you are voluntarily contributing. I don't care what you look like or what background you come from. You're a part of our community now because you enjoy what I enjoy. It's so simple. So to say that rap culture is exclusive to black people simply because it was pioneered by black people is racism. And that's not to decredit black people for being the pioneers of rap. We have plenty of talented African American individuals to thank for bringing rap into the mainstream. But that doesn't mean that people of other races are not allowed to participate. In fact, I bet if you asked majority of rappers, they would say, of course everyone should participate. I mean, listen to what Lil Wayne has to say about when he goes to a concert.
A lot of white kids love rap.
Yes.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
When I look out and I come up off the stage, when I'm coming out the bottom of the stage of my show, when I'm on tour, and I'm in my stance or whatever, and I open my eyes and I see everybody. I don't have this type of crowd or that type of crowd. My crowd has always been everybody, thank God. And that's all I can answer for.
Why can't we practice unity under this narrative? Statements like the ones you see in this video trend backwards towards reconstructing that color barrier. You have created arbitrary boxes around culture based on the distinction of color and rejected any free transactions between them. How do we expect to evolve as a society if we can't come to appreciate, participate in, and develop the thousands of cultures within it? A culture is ultimately dependent on participants. So why is it a bad thing to expose outsiders to liking them and inviting them to participate in them? Look, there's two extremes here, and it's clear which one they promote. One is to only procreate within one culture and then generate animosity towards other cultures as time goes on. And then the other extreme is to procreate amongst all cultures and ultimately homogenize society. Now, I don't think either are preferential. I think somewhere in the middle is good. I think America at least is a fair melting pot, but why is anyone in their right mind advocating for that first extreme, for more segregation after an awful history of it? And since this cultural appropriation is really promulgated by people on the ideological left side of the spectrum, many have jovially began to call them regressive. Now, I'm mature enough to know that these regressives are a fringe element of the actual progressive ideology. I may not be a participant of that ideology or that culture, but I know that even the most devoted, level-headed progressives are repulsed by the intoxication of it by things like cultural appropriation.
And by the way, I'm a liberal, and we're the worst at it. Liberals are the worst. We do this thing where we talk about, the way we talk about right-wing voters is so crazy. It's like these backcountry, hillbilly, banjo-playing, moonshine swilling, the cousin humping morons. Why don't they vote with us? It's like, they could hear you.
Cultural influence is about integration, and it's a good thing. It's a way to express yourselves, to meet new people, to diversify, and to evolve. Coming from an outsider of the ideology that boasts these points on its stump, there is some huge hypocrisy happening here. You have reduced individuals to groups, to statistics. It should be a modern marvel to have individuals with different backgrounds finding things in common and integrating the millions of ideas in this world. In order for that to happen, we have to treat people like the individuals they are. You can't treat people like individuals when you reject their beliefs and interests on the basis of their appearance or background. That reduces people to a number, a variable in a group that you have assigned permanent attributes to. It's the toxic idea that I am a cisgender white male and therefore, according to your rulebook, I am not allowed to participate in rapping, curling my hair, braiding my hair, wearing the color pink, or whatever arbitrary sanctions you assign to my kind. You are trying to decide what I'm allowed to think and what I'm allowed to do based on superficial grouping. That's not what freedom looks like to me. I am a very patriotic person, but all of my beliefs are what I like to call passive beliefs. It's very simple: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all. And none of my beliefs contribute to depriving anyone else of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You don't infringe on anyone's life, liberty, or opportunity to achieve happiness by braiding your hair or being a white rapper. It just doesn't happen. There is no give and take. It's just evolving. My beliefs don't actively hurt or exclude. They are passive in that they affect my decisions. Now, I can be patriotic and proud of my country, but I don't claim exclusive ownership. In fact, my beliefs are inclusive and encouraging and welcomes anyone willing to participate into my culture. This is why I made that hashtag Unite Rap to invite instead of reject.
Every single life actually matters. I want to capitalize it, flying it high in the capital sky to remind you in time we can call these values to action.
Not only that, but it shares what I believe instead of attacking what I dislike. You actually know what my beliefs are. And that can pull people closer to you in understanding instead of pushing them away as far as you can to segregate, like this video is trying to do. My video magnetizes instead of polarizing, and then maybe that's why I can't get anyone big to share it around. But this cultural appropriation rap is designed to polarize. It's designed to exclude people. It's designed to segregate. It's designed for evil. In conclusion, cultural appropriation is an exacerbated result of assigning victimhood to certain groups of people instead of allowing individuals to be responsible for their own actions. They're not talking about intellectual property theft, actually stealing somebody's work. They're talking about being inspired or being influenced by a genre or culture and applying it in new ways to yourself. That is the source of innovation. It's the source of a modern, technologically enhanced, healthy, and humane society, and it's something we should be thankful for. It's not an excuse to bring segregation back to America. And the rap was pretty bad, too. I'm Matt Forio. I make more positive raps, more intellectually sound raps, so you can check that out in the cards that I'm putting on screen right now. Check out the description for a bunch of links. Become a chiseler. You are welcome and you are invited into this community. Do not feel like you are left out here because you never will be. I'm Matt Forio. That's all for you today.